welcome back to my channel. I'm James. Today I've got 10 big, exciting advanced reviews, and we're going to be deep diving into these 10 exciting upcoming 4K Ultra HD movies. Now, these were sent to me early for review from the studios, and I do appreciate when they send things to me early for review, but as always, as most of you know that have followed me for years here on my channel, just because something's sent to me early for review, it never changes or affects my reviews, my testing data, or my review scores. Now, these reviews have taken me over 2.5 weeks to compile, test, pull all the data, and then also go through and creating my review scores and this massive review video. And let me tell you, I've got some good news and I've got some really bad news. And I'm gonna share all of that about all of these releases inside this video. So there's a lot of information I have to cover with all of you, and I'm gonna cut through all of the BS and give it to you straight so that you know the actual image and sound quality of each of these 4Ks, and if there's something you should buy, upgrade to, or add to your collection. At the end of each of these reviews, I'll always give my review score, which gives you the sum up total quality of each of these 4K releases, and if they are something you should buy. Now, because we have 10 4K Ultra HD releases to dive into and review today, I'm gonna try to keep these reviews each limited to 3 minutes or under per movie. That way I can cover all of the information you need to know about and sum it up in a quicker review while giving you the sum up total quality of each of these, just in a more condensed, quicker format. Now, it's always extremely important if you decide you're gonna buy or add any of these 4Ks to your collection after you get done watching my reviews. Always go down and use those direct Amazon sale links right down there below. Those links down there never cost you a penny extra when you click on them, but simply by you clicking on them, it shows your support of the creation of all of these exclusive videos. And the only way I can always continue to do this is with all of you, my viewers and subscribers' support, by always using those direct Amazon sale links down there below. You see, I'm not paid or sponsored by any of the studios, so the only way I can spend all of this time, 2.5 weeks creating this massive video, is always through your support. So if you enjoy these and these videos have helped you out over the years, always make sure to go down and use those direct Amazon sale links right down there below. Now, to start off with here, I'm going to show you the Blu-ray images pulled from the original Blu-ray release of SpongeBob SquarePants the movie. Now, I've owned this Blu-ray for many years. My kids have watched it dozens upon dozens of times, and it's a decent Blu-ray release. Though I will tell you, from originally when I saw it in cinemas, the Blu-ray has a more muted color palette. It's not very sharp lines for the animation, and it overall has a duller color palette than what I saw originally when I saw it in cinemas. Well, I am happy to announce for SpongeBob the movie's 25th anniversary, Paramount went back and did a brand new native 4K transfer and Dolby Vision HDR10 master. And as you're noticing right away in those comparison images up above, the native images that you see above pulled from this 4K disc versus the previous Blu-ray disc, this 4K is simply stunningly beautiful to behold. The lines are crisp, the details of what you see in the animation with the varying shades of colors shine through brilliantly and vibrantly on this 4K transfer versus, like I said, the duller and more muted previous Blu-ray transfer. Now, for this new 4K transfer, it has a nice natural layer of film grain that you can see from beginning to end. There was no DNR applied, and it is very evidently much more detailed, and you can see the crispness in the animation that was lacking and missing on the previous Blu-ray altogether. Overall, image quality wise, this is a massive improvement and upgrade in every single area of the image over the previous Blu-ray release. Now, there wasn't any issues I encountered when going through my testing on this, but there was one variance. Between the Dolby Vision layer and the HDR10 layer, Dolby Vision was just 10% roughly better looking overall than the HDR10. It had better colors, just overall looked more vibrant and brilliant. And so the Dolby Vision was the one I really enjoyed, but both of them, no matter which TV you have that plays either HDR10 or Dolby Vision, both of them are massive improvements and annihilate the previous Blu-ray in every area of the image. Now, I do have this in my SteelBook protectors. If you want to know exactly about how to get these and what the deal is I discovered, I tested them and reviewed them here on this channel and tested them from over 10 different companies to figure out what was the best deal and the best quality. I love these SteelBook protectors, especially for limited edition SteelBooks like this. In the US, SpongeBob SquarePants the movie is only released in a limited edition SteelBook only. Paramount was very specific. There's no standard 4K case, limited edition SteelBook only, and I can tell you, just like what you're seeing in this video, it does not do justice. It is absolutely gorgeous looking in person. The colors on it, it's high gloss, and showing you how high gloss it is, when you get to the back, it has the continuation of SpongeBob's pants and his shirt on the back, and I really like how they continue the artwork all the way around the SteelBook. Now, when you get inside, it does have artwork on the inside of the SteelBook, very vibrant. I like that as well. 4K disc, I did test, it's 100% region free. Now, I did dive into and test out the rough average bitrate for all of you. It has a shockingly high, extremely healthy and strong 94 megabits per second. A very wow experience that will shock and surprise you from beginning to end. I did not expect to get this level and this amount of love and care put into the SpongeBob movie 4K release, but I am thrilled, and so were my kids. Now, audio-wise, you get a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 audio mix. It's louder sounding than the previous Blu-ray, it does sound clearer, and it does have good range. Overall, a very nice and enjoyable audio mix. Now, getting to my review score. For SpongeBob SquarePants the movie, for its 25th anniversary in a limited edition SteelBook, this gets a beautiful 9.4. It's a must-buy, you need to buy and add to your collection. You'll be shocked and surprised at how beautiful the animation comes across in this native 4K transfer. It's a shocking experience that was beautiful from beginning to end, and it's a must-buy. You want to have this in your collection, support this release. If you decide you're going to buy this and add this to your collection now, I put that direct Amazon sale link right down there below. Next up, we have the Tom Hanks true story Captain Phillips from 2013. I absolutely love this film. My wife loves it. We went to see it originally in cinemas. It's a wonderful, based on a true story that everybody needs to experience, and it's one of Tom Hanks' best performances. Now, for this limited edition SteelBook release, Sony went back and did a brand new native 4K transfer of the original 4K master, along with a brand new Dolby Vision and HDR10 master, and a brand new Dolby Atmos audio mix. Talking about the Atmos mix, it is extremely immersive, has amazing range, crystal clear sounding, and has some good LFE. Overall, it's one of those Dolby Atmos mixes you sit back and you feel very immersed in the film, and it's a wonderful experience. As far as the 4K image goes on this, it is a nice improvement in depth and detail over the previous Blu-ray. You will notice though that it does have the same natural film grain present on it that's not gone in any shape or form throughout the entire runtime. Film grain is very nicely stable, though there was a few instances of digital noise, but they're very, very slight, and you have to be looking extremely hard. Otherwise, the native 4K transfer on this is a very nice and healthy improvement over the previous Blu-ray transfer. Now, this limited edition SteelBook is the only way this film is being released by Sony. They said that they're not releasing it in a standard case whatsoever. Once this sells out, it goes out of print. This is a matte finish on it. It's very nice. I do like on the side it says Captain Phillips in gray, and then on the back it has the picture of the ship with obviously the pirates and their ship. I like how they put artwork on the back as well. Now, when you get inside here, there is artwork on the inside as well. It does have Tom Hanks' character. 4K disc is 100% region free, and that's where it's at. The 4K disc is the best way to ever view this film. Now, I did dive into and test out the rough average bitrate for all of you. I'm happy to report this has a high, healthy, and very strong 82 megabits per second, and lended to why it has such a nice filmic image from beginning to end, and was a very nice and healthy improvement in image quality and a massive upgrade in audio quality over the previous Blu-ray release. You'll never want to watch that previous Blu-ray ever again, let alone just for that very enjoyable and immersive Dolby Atmos. Now, getting to my review score for Captain Phillips in this limited edition SteelBook release, this gets an excellent 9.2. It's a must-buy. You want to buy, add this to your collection, and support this release. If you have not experienced it yet, it is a wonderful true story with an amazing performance by Tom Hanks. He's a ship captain that basically is in waters transporting cargo. And during that time, it gets taken over by pirates, which is still going on to this day. And it's the story of what happens and how he basically contains his crew and takes care of people and deals with the situation. And it's just so wonderfully done. The musical score is great in it. You really need to experience this excellent 4K release, and this is the best way to ever experience this film. Though keep in mind, it is a limited edition SteelBook release only, no standard edition, and once this sells out, Sony says it's gone. Now, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to go down there and give this video a like and a thumbs up for me. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. That way you're notified right away whenever I release any of these advanced reviews or any of my big announcement and reveal videos. You never want to miss out on any of this content, so make sure to go down there, give this video a like and a thumbs up for me, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Next up, we have The Fall Guy, the 2024 action adventure comedy with a little romance thrown in. It's one of those films that I very much enjoyed the extended cut. Notice what I did there? The extended cut. The theatrical cut was butchered, chopped up, and was a very mixed mash of just odd things together. The extended cut, thankfully, is included on the 4K disc, which has a full 20 minutes of added footage that fleshes out the story, and it makes it a completely different film altogether over the theatrical cut. So if you saw the theatrical cut in theaters, you need to do yourself a favor and experience the extended cut, because overall, I never want to watch that theatrical cut again with how good the extended cut is. And I'm really kind of surprised they even released the theatrical cut, because when you watch the extended cut, it has so much more fleshed out story, comedic beats. There's a lot of jokes and comedic beats in this that are way funnier than it was in the theatrical cut because they were completely missing or cut out. Well, I'm happy to report both cuts of the films are native 4K 2160p with Dolby Vision and HDR10 Master and English Dolby Atmos. The English Dolby Atmos is incredibly immersive. It uses the height channels consistently throughout. It has some amazing LFE, great range, and crystal clear clarity. It was one of those things you sit there feeling like you're in the middle of all the action, the talking, the set pieces, the explosions. It's one of those reference quality Dolby Atmos audio mixes that you'll use to show off your home cinema. That is one of those pieces of this film that I was thrilled got such an amazing release on the 4K disc. But the good news doesn't stop there. For the image on this, it is amazingly detailed, strong depth in it, clarity where you look like you're looking out a glass window when you're watching this film. You can see every hair and stubble and rock and piece of sand. It's one of those films you just sit there like this the whole time like, wow, this is just beautiful to watch. And the image is reference quality along with that reference quality Dolby Atmos. Now, if you want a recommendation of another amazing reference quality 4K release that just came out recently, you'll want to check out my review of Twister 4K. I did my full review and analysis in my top upcoming episode number 38 video. The full review for Twister is inside that video. If you have not watched episode 38 in my ongoing video series, that Twister release is reference quality and one of those you need to have to show off your home cinema. This is another one of those reference quality 4Ks, but watch the extended cut. Don't even waste your time on the theatrical cut. Now, show what you get in this. It comes with a really nice slipcover. I do like the slipcover. It does have some embossing on it. And inside the 4K case, a surprise is you get two 4K discs. So they put the extended cut on its own 4K disc. You have a Blu Ray disc, and then you have another 4K disc, which is your theatrical cut. So they didn't overcompress it and shove it onto one disc. You actually get two completely separate discs. Bravo, Universal. I was very impressed that you gave us this many discs in this set. Now, I did dive into and test out the rough average bitrate. I'm very happy to report for both the theatrical and the extended cut, they have a high, healthy, and strong 76 megabits per second. Lends to why it has just such a reference quality image from beginning to end. It's one of those you'll sit there and just say, wow, I'm really enjoying how beautiful this film looks and how detailed it really is. Now, getting to my review score for The Fall Guy in this upcoming 4K release, this gets a reference quality 9.7, a must buy. You need to buy this, add this to your collection, and experience it in this reference quality 4K release. The Dolby Atmos, the Dolby Vision, the HDR10, and the native 4K transfer are wow, jaw-dropping experiences. You'll sit there and say, I'm so glad I got to experience this, and the fact that Universal went the extra mile to give us each cut of the film on separate 4K discs, bravo Universal, you very much impressed me with this 4K release, and that's pretty rare. I don't have too many that get reference quality releases, So I'm thrilled this is one of them because the extended cut is a blast. I really enjoy the film and I've watched it twice now since I got this 4K release for review, and it's been a fun time both times. My wife enjoyed it. Now let me know in the comment section below, did you see the theatrical cut? Are you excited to experience the extended cut now? Have you seen the extended cut? Let me know how excited you are for any of these from this review video, and are you excited for this reference quality 4K release? Next up, we have Jaws 3 from 1983. This is a native 4K and it does have an HDR10 master, along with a brand new Dolby Atmos audio mix. I can tell you the Dolby Atmos audio mix on this is very enjoyable. It did surprise me how much an enjoyable of an audio mix it was, and it was a nice improvement over all of the previous editions I've seen of Jaws 3. But that's where things change after the audio mix. Due to how Jaws 3 was originally filmed and created, it was a 3D film. And I'll answer right off of the bat about the 3D part. There is a 3D Blu Ray disc included in this set. So if you want to experience that, it is included as a separate Blu Ray disc in this set. But as far as the 4K disc goes, there are quite a few things that are issues with how it was originally created, and then the work they did on this to provide it in a 4K release. They did use the original files, but what they did is they put a layer over it to try to create depth and detail that causes things to look otherworldly, I'll call it. It's one of those images that it was always soft because of it being created as a 3D. It has a very, very soft image, but then on top of that, they actually tried to create basically false depth and basically detail that didn't exist in people's faces and some of like the ocean waves and different areas you can see it. But it causes odd waves in the image and causes sometimes people's like eyebrows and like lips to move on their face almost separate from what they normally would, and it just causes some odd otherworldly looking faces. So basically the AI software and how they did it causes it to have just a very odd and unnatural look. When you're watching it, it's one of those things you sit there and it keeps getting you where you're kind of like, okay, that doesn't look right, and well, that doesn't look right, and well, that's really soft, and you can kind of get away with that saying, hey, it's an original 3D movie, so obviously the depth and detail is not really present there like it would be with an original native 4K 35mm film that wasn't a 3D creation. It's two different things. Well, the problem is basically the AI and how they created on top of that another layer of trying to create a layer of detail in the film causes it to really just look off. And that's about the best way I can explain it is people's faces, and they just have an odd look to them. Backgrounds have a really odd look to them. And it just overall is not a natural looking film. But the bad news doesn't stop there. It also has digital noise throughout it. It has some banding, some blocking, some artifacting, and some heavy black crush in some scenes. So literally it's kind of all over the place. You have where you'll see blocking and basically clumping with the film grain that causes that blocking appearance with digital noise. Up in the corners of the screen, sometimes even in the middle of the screen, you'll see it on characters when, especially they're like in the dance hall and they're at that bar dancing and kind of messing around, you know, doing a little game with the hands. Well, you'll see there's a lot of like blocking on the characters' outfits, and all of a sudden you'll just see blocking appear all over them. It's all mixed together with problems with basically the digital tinkering they did with the AI, with the film grain, with the digital noise. It's all just kind of combined together into kind of a big messy soup. And that's about the best explanation I can give you is it's a messy soup. I mean, honestly, it is a soupy looking. It's thick. It's just kind of all over the place. It's not an amazing 4K transfer, even though I really enjoyed the Dolby Atmos. Now, I did dive into and test out the rough average bitrate for all of you. It does have a good 78 megabits per second. Now, if you've seen my previous American Graffiti review, you'll know that that one has a very soft and poor 4K image as well. Well, this one is worse than that. It's just not that good looking, and it's one of those that I can't recommend as an amazing 4K transfer. Now, getting to my review score. For Jaws 3 in this upcoming 4K release, it gets a 5.3. It's disappointing. I liked the Dolby Atmos mix. I thought that was very enjoyable. It's the best part of the whole release. And if I take off my reviewer's cap for a minute and set that aside, just as a collector, I really liked the limited edition SteelBook. I thought Universal did a good job with it. I liked the J card. I love the artwork of Jaws' mouth coming over it. And I really liked having the limited edition SteelBook. it's just the 4K transfer. It's a mixed bag of bad stuff. I mean, honestly, it's a soup of bad. There's just so much stuff going wrong with it. And it started all from the original 3D elements that they had to work with, and I get that. But all of the other things they did to it just make it look otherworldly. Now, talking about Jaws the Revenge from 1987. This one is a native 4K transfer as well. It does have HDR10 on it and Dolby Atmos. The Dolby Atmos on this is very enjoyable. It has great range, great clarity, and overall it's one of those things that surprises me for a more obscure film that I never thought we'd see Jaws the Revenge. It's not the best of the Jaws films. It's more or less got a lot of clunky writing, clunky acting, but it's one of those so bad it's good films, if you've ever heard that term, that every time I watch it, I think it's bad, but then I go back and watch it again. And I always say I have a kind of fun time almost making fun of some of the bad stuff, but it's enjoyable in that sense. This 4K release has very strong depth and detail in the image with the natural film grain, and not a single of the issues I encountered in the Jaws 3 4K release. Universal did an amazing job with Jaws the Revenge. The native 4K image on this is beautiful. From beginning to end, the only thing I encountered was some very slight digital noise. Otherwise, film grain's present. It has none of those issues with odd haloing or enhanced where they're trying to enhance things in the background that I noticed. Overall, it looks beautiful. And the Dolby Atmos audio mix on this actually uses your height channels in some very unique and enjoyable ways. Overall, I'm very impressed with what Universal did for this 4K release. And I did dive into and test out the rough average bitrate for all of you. Very happy to report it has a high, healthy, and strong 82 megabits per second. So an even higher rough average bitrate than Jaws 3. Amazing native 4K image. Getting to my review score for Jaws the Revenge in this upcoming 4K release, this gets a very good 9.1. This one is a recommended must buy to add to your collection. Even though the film is one of those so bad it's good, the 4K release is highly recommended. Unlike Jaws 3, which was such a mixed bag of nastiness that I just really didn't enjoy the 4K image, and it just isn't one of those I could ever recommend. This one is actually a recommended 4K transfer, and the Dolby Atmos is very impressive as well. Good job, Universal. Horrible job, Universal. I don't know how we got both of these released at the same time with such a horrible job here and such a good job on this release. It really just kind of baffles my mind that I'm holding both of these released at the same time. They must have had two different teams working on them, one with AI and basically maybe people that were blind. And then you had people over here that they could see real well and they really enjoyed their work and said, man, let's make this really beautiful looking. Let's work with the original film elements. Great job, horrible job. Now, if you want to check out my review of Jaws 2, that's available right now on this channel. I did an exclusive 4K versus Blu-ray image comparison. And for that 4K release, it's an amazing 4K release, a big upgrade, and Universal did an amazing job. Next up, we have Reptilicus from 1961. Now, I do want to start off by sharing a little story about this film. Basically, the film was lost for many, many years. They could never locate it. It wasn't until recently that they even discovered the original film elements. And so for this upcoming 4K release, they did a brand new 4K scan of the original camera negatives that they located. I'm happy to report it is a native 4K, and it does have HDR10 on it. Now, I did get this in early for review, about 3 weeks early for review to be exact, and I've never seen the film before, but I did dive into it expecting a certain level of cheese and things like that, because a lot of these early 60s creature feature monster movies, you kind of know what to expect when you go into them. Well, I gotta say, even knowing what to expect, this one did surprise me because it's got massive fluctuations in the image that I didn't expect. Colors go in and out. You'll have some times where it looks a certain way, and then in the very next scene, all of a sudden the person looks completely different. You have massive issues with banding, blocking, artifacting, digital noise, and those are present throughout the entire runtime of this film. Now, along with that, you have a DTS HD Master Audio 2.0 audio mix. I don't have good news about that either. You have very noticeable hissing and distortions in the audio mix throughout the entire runtime, along with all of those issues that you have with the image throughout the entire runtime. Film grain is massively unstable. You have massive flickering, fluctuations, flashing, mixed with all the digital noise and blocking and all of those other issues I outlined earlier. It's one of those 4K releases I had a hard time watching, and I'll be honest, even with all of knowing how cheesy they are and things like that, I really didn't enjoy the film either, and I'm always going to be honest and upfront with all of you. This is not one of those that I really enjoyed. Now, there is an audience out there that probably, even though I'm used to a certain level of cheese, it just wasn't good acted, it didn't keep me engaged, and overall with the image and audio issues being so bad throughout it, I just had a hard time finishing it. Now, I did dive into and test out the rough average bitrate for you. I am happy to report it did have a high, healthy, and strong 88 megabits per second. Now, inside here, it does have reversible artwork. It comes with a big poster. You get 3 discs in it. You got a Blu-ray, you got another Blu-ray with the feature film on it, and your special features on the other Blu-ray, and then your 4K disc. I did test it. It's 100% region-free. Now, if you want a recommendation of a creature feature from the 70s that I really enjoyed, you'll want to check out my King Kong review. King Kong got a very good 4K release in a limited edition steelbook here in the US. Paramount did an amazing job. It's actually the best version of the film to experience on 4K. That's a great creature feature that I really enjoyed. Now, getting to my review score for the image and sound quality, this gets a 4.0. It's just not one of those I can recommend, and I'll always let you know that. It's a shame because I do love the artwork on this, and it is cool to have films that have been discovered, that have been gone for many years. It's just not one of those films that I can say that I'm glad it was discovered because it wasn't enjoyable. But I'll always tell you the quality so that way you know what to expect when you're getting into something like this. Next up, we have the Chuck Norris action classic from 1985, Invasion USA. Now, for this 4K release, they did a brand new 4K scan and restoration of the original 35mm camera negative. I am happy to report it's a native 4K with an HDR10 master, and it does have improved depth and detail in this image over the previous Blu-ray release I had from Shout Factory. I will tell you though, the film grain has always been very heavy, and it is present on this, and it is heavy. It does have fluctuations that have always been present from the beginning of its home video releases. The film grains always had fluctuations. They're present on this, and they're not going to go away because they're in the original film elements because of the way that they filmed it. It's just a rougher looking film intentionally. Though I will say, this is the best way I've ever seen this film ever look on home video, and I've experienced all of them. And I will tell you that it's always looked rough, but this one, it does increase depth and detail in it. Colors look very nice with the HDR10 implementation, but go into it understanding it's intentionally rougher looking. Now, along with that, they did give us a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 and 2.0 audio mixes. I can't tell you the 5.1 is the best sounding audio mix I've ever heard for Invasion USA. It's very strong, it's very clear, you can hear background noises. Everything was very much improved on the audio mix, and it was a nice improvement over the previous Blu-ray release and the best way I've ever heard this sound as well. Now, when you get inside here, you do get this really nice limited edition book that talks about the film. You have your Blu-ray disc and your 4K disc. This is actually the artwork that's on the other side of the slipcover. Now, I did dive into the rough average bitrate on the 4K. I am happy to report it has a healthy 72 megabits per second. Now, getting to my review score for Invasion USA, this gets a good 8.3. It's the best way I ever see us getting Invasion USA. It's a fun Chuck Norris 80s action classic. I recommend if you like Chuck Norris films, this is one of his best. I really enjoy this one. The big set pieces of the tanks rolling in the town and all of that stuff is really a fun blast from the Canon film experiences, but this is recommended. I enjoy the film, and this is a worthwhile 4K upgrade. Next up, we have Phantoms from 1998, the sci-fi thriller horror film. It's got Ben Affleck in a very early appearance, and I will say it's one of those sci-fis from the 90s that I really enjoy. It kind of reminds me of a good episode of The X-Files almost, mixed together with some thriller horror experiences, all wrapped together in a fun time that every time I watch this film, I have a blast. Well, for this 4K release, it did get a brand new 4K scan of the original camera negative and Dolby Vision HDR10 Master approved by the original director himself, Joe Chappelle. I am happy to report it's a native 4K, and the image is stunning to behold with amazing depth and detail from beginning to end. There was no issues whatsoever with digital noise, banding, blocking, no issues with film grain clumping, no issues with film grain instabilities. Overall, the 4K image is a wonder, and it is one of those that I sat there and said, wow, I cannot believe how amazing this 4K looks for a film from 1998 that I never thought we'd actually ever get on 4K. But we're really at the pinnacle of physical media where we're getting things like this on 4K and it's such amazing quality. I'm thrilled because I've always really enjoyed this. It's a blast. No matter how many times you watch it, you turn your brain off and you just have a great time. Now, this does also have a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 audio mix. It's very strong, it's very clean, it's very clear sounding. It has some very good LFE. Overall, another very nice treat and surprise on this 4K release. Now, I did dive into and test out the rough average bitrate for all of you. Very happy to report it has an extremely high, shockingly strong, and healthy 94 megabits per second. Wow. And it lends to why it is such a stunningly detailed image from beginning to end and no issues whatsoever. Now, if you want some recommendations of some of the best top 10 4K releases of the year so far, you'll want to check out my top 10 video of the 4K releases of 2024 so far. That video will give you a list of 4Ks you need to have in your collection, and that video is available right now for you to watch here on this channel. Now, getting to my review score for Phantoms in this 4K release, it gets an amazing 9.3. This is a must buy. You want to buy, add to your collection, experience this film in the most amazing 4K image quality it's ever been released in. Scream Factory, Shout Studios did an outstanding job with this 4K release. I'm happy to report they've been doing a lot of outstanding releases lately that I've been thrilled with. This is another one that goes in their catalog of amazing 4K transfers that really will just be a wow experience. You'll sit there and say, man, I'm thrilled with how gorgeous this looks. Next up, we have Dark Angel from 1990. For this 4K release, they did a brand new 4K scan of the original camera negative. It is a native 4K with Dolby Vision and HDR10 Master. And I'm happy to report the 4K image has very good depth and detail in the image, and the film grain is present and very consistently stable through the entire runtime. Though one of the things I did encounter is some slight digital noise. Unlike Phantoms, which had no issues whatsoever, there was some digital noise present in this that it kind of mixed with some of the scenes when there was heavier fog or fog machines. You would notice it mixing with the film grain and causing some very, very slight blocking with that digital noise. But nothing so bad that it ruined the experience. It's just it's not as amazing of a 4K transfer as what we got with Phantoms. Overall, for this 4K release, in comparison to the previous Blu-ray release I owned from Scream Factory and Shout Studios, this is a very healthy improvement in both image, colors, skin tones, overall stability in the image. The Blu-ray release was a softer image, it had a lot lacking in colors, and it did have some gray crush on the previous Blu-ray. That's gone. Depth and detail you can see in all of those scenes much better with the great Dolby Vision and HDR10 implementation. Now, we also get a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 audio mix. It's strong and clear. I had no issues with it whatsoever, and I will tell you it's one of those that you sit back and enjoy this 90s sci-fi film and you have a blast. Now, I did dive into and test out the rough average bitrate for all of you. I'm very happy to report it has an extremely high and healthy 93 megabits per second. Plenty of room for it to breathe, which lends to why the image looks so nice. And with such a massive improvement over the previous Blu-ray, that every single area of the image, this destroys and annihilates the previous Blu-ray. You'll never want to watch the previous Blu-ray ever again once you see how good this 4K transfer looks. Now, getting to my review score for Dark Angel on 4K, this gets a very good 9.1. It's another must-buy that you want to buy and add to your collection. Support releases like this so that we get more of these more obscure sci-fi films from the 90s. I like that we're getting more of these because they're fun. You sit on a Saturday afternoon, you pop it in, and you have a blast. Now, if you want to buy any of these or add these to your collection, remember it's always very important to use those direct Amazon sale links right down there below. Next up, we have Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1956. Now, for this 4K release, they did a brand new 4K scan of the best available 35mm elements. I am happy to report it is a native 4K 2160p with a Dolby Vision and HDR10 master, and they did something unique for this release in releasing it with two different aspect ratios, 2.00 to 1 and 1.85 to 1. The 1.85 to 1 was my preferred viewing experience, but I will tell you there's some issues with that viewing experience. It does have issues with damage to the film because it was not stored properly or taken care of very well. So with the expanded aspect ratio, you will notice at the bottom and the top of the screen a lot more heavier damage present. You'll notice a lot more blots and splotches, hairs and little tears that appear in it that are more so present because of the expanded aspect ratio versus the 2.00 to 1. That one you don't notice as much because it's cropping those areas off. Though I did like the expanded aspect ratio just because I liked having those extra areas, even though there is more damage you notice throughout it. I will tell you for this 4K release, it has a DTS HD Master Audio 2.0 audio mix. It sounds very good, though it does have some hissing and clicks in it, and it's not a perfect audio mix, which blends to not a perfect image either. But it is the best I've ever seen this film look on home video and the best I've ever heard it sound on home video. Now, I did dive into and test out the rough average bitrate for all of you. I'm happy to report it has a healthy 73 megabits per second. Overall, for a classic film from the 50s, it's enjoyable. It's just not the best or most pristine looking film from the 50s. There's just so many issues with different elements that are so severely damaged that's the best quality they could pull out of them for this 4K release. Now, getting to my review score, for Invasion of the Body Snatchers, this gets a good 8.5. It's one of those I do recommend because there's not much else they can do with those elements because that's all that's available, and a lot of them, that's just the best that's there. But it's still enjoyable, and getting to experience this film, this is the best quality for image and sound that I've ever seen this film presented in. Let me know if you've ever seen this classic film, or if you've seen the remakes. Let me know which one's your preferred version. Wow, that was a lot of stuff for me to dive into and test and review. I'm telling you, the 2.5 weeks I spent working on this, I literally couldn't believe the amount of work it took me to create this video, and I really put my heart into making sure I still provided all of the testing data and everything all of you really enjoy out of my reviews. So I hope you really see my heart was put into this and you've enjoyed this massive review video today. As always, it's extremely important if you decide you're buying any of these, always use those direct Amazon sale links right down there below. Those links down there never cost you a penny to click on them. It simply supports the creation of these videos, these massive review videos. I can only do them with your support, my viewers and subscribers, because none of these studios pay me a dime. They send me these for review and they don't pay me a dime. And that's the only way I can stay consistently independent and always provide these honest testing and reviews. And that's why, even though everything was sent for review in this video, as you noticed, a lot of them I did not recommend because they were not good 4K releases. And the only way I can always spend this time testing and reviewing is with you, my viewers and subscribers support, by always clicking and using those direct Amazon sale links down there below and joining my Collectors VIP Club. My Collectors VIP Club is extremely important as well. That goes directly back into the testing, the software, and that's how I can keep creating all these videos and spending weeks upon weeks testing and analyzing all of these for all of you. So if you've enjoyed these videos and these videos help you out, always use those direct Amazon sale links down there below and join my Collectors VIP Club. I want to say thank you to every single one of you that has supported this channel. I really appreciate all of your support. When you click on those links, it means the world to me. That's how I'm able to continue to do this. With my health issues, it really is a blessing me getting to do this and spend time talking with all of you about movies and TV series, and I really just want to say thank you. As always, I truly hope all of you have a blessed day, and I've always got something new, early, exclusive, and exciting coming out very soon.